There's something deeply mysterious about those who radiate a quiet, spiritual strength. They don't speak the loudest, but you feel their presence. They don't need to prove anything, yet you're drawn to them. Or sometimes, you're made uncomfortable by them. And here's the strange part. Even though these individuals are often the ones who are the most grounded, the most compassionate, and the most awake, they're also the ones who get pushed away, misunderstood, or outright rejected. Carl Jung, one of the most profound thinkers in the history of psychology, believed that the human soul contains layers we barely understand. His work wasn't just about the mind. It was about the soul, the unseen, the internal world that guides our choices, our dreams, and yes, even our pain. Spiritual strength isn't about religion or rituals. It's the ability to stay rooted when everything around you shakes. It's a kind of inner clarity, a knowing that there's more to life than just fitting in, performing, or surviving. Spiritually strong people feel things deeply. They question the world around them. They seek meaning, not just success. But here's the question I want to ask you today. If spiritual strength is so valuable, why is it so often rejected? Why do those who strive to be their most authentic selves, who do the hard inner work, end up alone, misunderstood, or excluded? Maybe the answer isn't about them. Maybe it's about us. Let's talk about something we all carry, but rarely want to face: the shadow. Carl Jung introduced this concept not to shame us, but to free us. The shadow is made up of the parts of ourselves we push away, the anger we pretend we don't have, the envy we try to dress up as competition, the insecurities we bury under success. It's everything we've been taught to hide, because we think those parts make us unworthy. But hiding them doesn't make them disappear. It just makes them more powerful and more unconscious. And here's where it gets really uncomfortable. We don't just project this shadow onto strangers. We project it onto those closest to us. We project it onto the people who threaten our carefully constructed self-image, especially those who are spiritually strong. You see, when someone walks into a room and they're deeply rooted in who they are, when they speak truthfully, live consciously, and radiate peace without needing attention, it can shake something in us. If we haven't yet faced our own shadow, we may feel uneasy. We don't always know why, but suddenly we're defensive, critical, dismissive. Something inside whispers, "I don't trust them," or "they're being fake," or "they think they're better than me." But what's actually happening is projection. Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." That's what spiritual strength does. It irritates, not because it's arrogant, but because it's a mirror. It shows us what we haven't yet accepted in ourselves. When someone embodies grace in chaos, it can highlight how reactive we still are. When someone chooses forgiveness over revenge, it can expose how tightly we still hold grudges. When someone walks in alignment with their values, it makes us question where we've compromised our own. And that's the heart of this painful truth. We reject spiritual strength not because it's wrong, but because it reveals what we're not yet ready to confront. Think about it. Have you ever met someone so authentic, so grounded, that you felt both inspired and uncomfortable in their presence? That discomfort isn't about them. It's the shadow stirring inside of you. That's the real reason spiritually strong people are often excluded. They awaken something. They hold a frequency that disturbs the unconscious patterns of others. Jung taught that the goal isn't to get rid of the shadow, but to integrate it, to face it, to make peace with it. And when we don't, we end up fearing or resenting those who have. Spiritually strong people, whether they realize it or not, become catalysts. They activate others just by being. They don't even have to speak. Their energy does the work. And for people who have never looked inward, who live entirely from their persona, their outer mask, it can feel threatening. It challenges the illusion of control, the illusion of perfection, the illusion of separation. So rejection becomes a defense, a shield. If I push you away, I don't have to feel what you awaken in me. And here's the heartbreaking part. Spiritually strong people often take that rejection personally. They ask themselves, "What did I do wrong?" But the truth is, they didn't do anything. They just existed in truth. And truth is disruptive. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Rejection, in many cases, is not fate. It's the unconscious running the show. It's people reacting from their unhealed wounds, their untouched shadow, and their fear of change. So, if you've been rejected for being too reflective, too spiritual, too sensitive, too intense, please understand that rejection is not about your worth. It's about their readiness. You didn't fail to connect. You simply touched something they weren't prepared to face. And that is not your burden to carry. Instead, let it be a quiet confirmation that your presence holds depth, that your spirit stirs awakening, that your shadow work is rippling out in ways you may never fully see. Keep doing the work. Keep walking in truth. Keep facing your own shadow, so you can live in peace even when others don't understand you. And when rejection comes again, and it will, remember this: their discomfort is not a reflection of your failure. It's a reflection of your light meeting their darkness. Let them feel what they feel. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be real. Now that we've uncovered the shadow's role in rejection, let's turn our attention to another powerful force that shapes why spiritually strong people often find themselves on the outside: the archetype of the spiritual rebel. Carl Jung believed that archetypes are these universal patterns of behavior and symbols deeply embedded in our collective unconscious. They are like ancient stories playing out inside us, guiding how we think, feel, and act. You might think of archetypes as the roles we naturally gravitate toward in life, even if we aren't fully aware of it. Some people carry the warrior, others the caregiver, and some embody the rebel. The spiritual rebel archetype is unique because it challenges the status quo, not out of defiance or anger, but because it is called to something greater: to live authentically, to follow an inner truth, and to question societal norms that don't resonate with the soul. Think about what it means to be a spiritual rebel. This isn't someone looking to provoke for attention or to tear down systems just for the sake of rebellion. No. This is a deeply driven person who listens closely to their inner voice, even when it goes against the grain. They walk a path that few understand because it demands courage, vulnerability, and an unwavering commitment to self-awareness. Now, here's the catch. Because society often values conformity, predictability, and surface-level harmony, the spiritual rebel naturally triggers fear and insecurity in others. People cling tightly to their familiar beliefs, cultural norms, and shared values because they provide safety, an illusion of control in a chaotic world. And when someone comes along who refuses to fit neatly into that mold, who questions assumptions or dares to live differently, it can feel like a threat. This threat isn't always conscious. It's not that others want to hurt or exclude the spiritual rebel intentionally. Often, it's unconscious fear. Fear of change, fear of being challenged, fear of the unknown. The spiritual rebel holds up a mirror, reflecting back what others might secretly doubt or reject about their own lives. It's like Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The spiritual rebel shows us what it means to face ourselves honestly, and that can be terrifying for everyone around them. Because of this, the spiritual rebel is often misunderstood, labeled as difficult, or even alienated. They become the ones whispered about in social circles, or the ones who don't quite fit in. But their true power lies not in fitting in, but in breaking free. Breaking free from mass expectations and the pressure to conform. Embracing the spiritual rebel archetype means embracing non-conformity at a soul level. It means knowing that walking your unique path will sometimes mean walking it alone. It means being willing to face rejection, criticism, and loneliness, and choosing authenticity over acceptance. And yet, paradoxically, this rebellion isn't about separation. It's about connection. Connection to your true self. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that were silenced, dismissed, or ignored. It's about living with integrity, even if that integrity disrupts the harmony others seek. The spiritual rebel invites us to ask hard questions. Am I living the life that's truly mine? Am I honoring my inner voice? Am I willing to stand in my truth even when it's uncomfortable? Because those questions, and the answers they demand, will inevitably create ripples in your relationships and social circles. If you resonate with this archetype, know this: your nonconformity is your greatest gift. It's the spark that ignites transformation, not just in yourself, but in the world around you. And though rejection may come, it is not a punishment. It is the natural response of a world that fears the unfamiliar. But remember what Jung also said: one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The spiritual rebel doesn't run from darkness or rejection. They face it head on. They integrate it. They become whole. And in that wholeness, they shine their light most brilliantly, sometimes quietly, sometimes boldly, but always authentically. So if you feel that tug, the pull to break free from expectations, to question norms, to follow your own inner compass, embrace it. You are embodying a powerful archetype, one that has always existed and will always be needed. The path of the spiritual rebel is not easy, but it is necessary. Because without rebellion, without nonconformity, there can be no growth, no evolution, no true freedom. You are not alone on this path, even if it feels that way. You are part of a lineage of rebels who dared to be themselves. And that courage is sacred. Keep walking, keep questioning, keep rebelling in love, because the world needs your authentic light, even if it means being misunderstood along the way. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter. the 5 painful truths that explain why spiritually strong people are often rejected. These truths aren't easy to hear, but they're essential if you want to understand the spiritual journey and why it can sometimes feel so isolating. 1. They value depth, not popularity. In our fast-paced world, surface-level interactions have become the norm. Social media feeds, small talk, and fleeting distractions dominate our lives. But spiritually strong people are different. They crave something deeper. They long for meaningful conversations that touch the soul, for moments of silence that allow them to connect with their inner self, for authenticity that can't be faked. This desire for depth can make them seem different or even alien to those caught in superficiality. They might prefer solitude, not out of loneliness, but because the noise of the world often drowns out their truth. And this can lead to isolation, not because they want to be alone, but because genuine companionship is rare. Carl Jung put it beautifully when he said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." Spiritually strong people often carry this loneliness, this feeling of being unseen or misunderstood, simply because the world around them doesn't speak their language. 2. They walk the path of individuation. One of Jung's most profound contributions to psychology is the idea of individuation, the process of becoming your true, whole self. This path isn't easy. It's full of pain, confusion, and moments when you feel utterly alone. It means peeling away the layers of societal conditioning, family expectations, and internal fears to discover who you really are beneath it all. Spiritually strong people answer this call to individuation. They commit themselves to this inner journey, even when it's uncomfortable or lonely. But the further they walk, the fewer companions they find. Not everyone is ready to look inward or let go of their masks. And here's the paradox. The more authentic you become, the more you might feel rejected by those still living through their personas or unconscious patterns. It's not because they don't care. Often, they simply don't recognize or understand the path you're on, and that can hurt deeply. 3. They can't be controlled. Spiritually grounded people have an inner compass that guides them, a sense of self that isn't easily shaken by external praise, criticism, or manipulation. They listen to their own truth rather than chasing approval or trying to fit into others' expectations. This independence can be threatening to those who rely on control, manipulation, or validation to feel secure. If you can't be controlled, you can't be used. And that means some people will reject you as a defense mechanism. Jung once said, The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But becoming who you truly are often means breaking free from the control others want to exert over you. And that freedom is sometimes met with resistance. 4. They refuse to conform. We all wear masks, personas shaped by culture, family, and society. Jung warned about the danger of losing ourselves in these masks, becoming nothing more than a social performance. Spiritually strong people strive to drop these masks. They refuse to conform just to be liked or accepted. This refusal can be lonely and costly. Nonconformity often leads to exclusion, ridicule, or misunderstanding. But the alternative, living a lie, comes at an even greater cost, a loss of soul. Choosing truth over acceptance is one of the most courageous acts a person can make. It means standing firm in who you are, even if that means standing alone. 5. They reflect what others don't want to see. Finally, spiritually strong people are mirrors. They reflect back not only their own light, but also the unhealed wounds and shadows of those around them. This reflection can be uncomfortable or even painful for others. Jung said, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." When you embody spiritual strength, you inadvertently shine a light on others' unconscious fears, insecurities, and unresolved pain. This can provoke rejection or even hostility, because no one likes to be reminded of their own unfinished inner work. But it's also a gift, because what is seen can be healed. What is acknowledged can be transformed. Spiritually strong people accept this role, even when it's painful. They understand that being a mirror is part of their mission, to awaken not just themselves, but others too. These 5 truths are not just explanations. They are invitations. Invitations to embrace your path fully, to understand why rejection might come, and to recognize that it doesn't diminish your worth or your light. Being spiritually strong is a profound act of courage and love. It means walking a path that challenges both yourself and the world around you. And while that path may be lonely at times, it is also rich with meaning, growth, and deep connection to your true self. So if rejection has touched your life because of your spiritual strength, know this: it is not a failure. It is a sign you are walking your path authentically, and that is something truly beautiful. If you've ever felt the sting of rejection because of your spiritual strength, you know how isolating it can be. It can sometimes feel like you're walking through a vast, confusing labyrinth, searching for a place where you truly belong. But here's the truth: you don't have to wander alone forever. Finding your tribe, The people who see you, support you, and walk alongside you can transform your journey from lonely to joyful. Carl Jung believed deeply in the importance of connection, even as he championed individuality. We are social beings, wired to seek belonging. But not just any belonging. A belonging that honors the fullness of who we are, shadows and all. This is where the idea of soul tribes comes in. A soul tribe isn't just a group of friends or acquaintances. It's a community of like-minded souls who resonate with your path, who understand the language of your heart and spirit. These are people who don't just tolerate your authenticity. They celebrate it. They hold space for your struggles and your growth without judgment. They encourage you to be the fullest version of yourself. Finding this kind of tribe is vital because spiritual strength requires nourishment. Just as a plant needs sunlight and water, your soul needs genuine connection to thrive. When you find your tribe, you tap into a source of validation and encouragement that is radically different from the superficial acceptance we often settle for. But how do you find your tribe in a world that often feels disconnected or judgmental? First, start by seeking spaces that honor spiritual growth and authenticity. This might be local meditation groups, yoga classes, or workshops focused on healing and self-discovery. These spaces attract people who are already on a similar path, people who are also exploring their inner worlds and looking for meaningful connection. If in-person options feel limited or intimidating, the digital world offers vast opportunities to find soul tribes too. Online forums, social media groups dedicated to spiritual growth, and virtual workshops can connect you with people across the globe who share your values and challenges. The key is to engage authentically. Show up as you are, ask questions, share your insights, and listen deeply. Another powerful way to build your tribe is through intentional relationships. This means being willing to invest time and vulnerability in cultivating friendships that nourish your spirit. It might mean letting go of relationships that drain or judge you, even if they're long-standing. Remember, it's better to have a few deep, soulful connections than many shallow ones. Cultivating your tribe also involves patience and openness. Sometimes, the people who resonate with us appear in unexpected places, or at times when we least expect. Staying open means trusting your intuition and recognizing that connection often grows slowly, like a delicate flower blooming in its own time. And here's something to hold on to when the journey feels hard. Your tribe is already out there. They're seeking you just as much as you're seeking them. When you live your truth, you send out a vibration, a signal that draws those meant to be in your life closer. Jung said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." Finding your tribe isn't just about comfort or support. It's about mutual transformation. Together, you create a space where everyone can grow, heal, and become more whole. So, if you're feeling rejected or alone today, take heart. Your tribe exists. And as you continue to walk your spiritual path, authentically, courageously, and openly, you are lighting the way not just for yourself, but for the people you are destined to connect with. I hope this video was helpful. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts or experiences. Thanks for watching.